Our title is going to be telling time, right up here, these two words, telling time. Our first unit that we're working on in math is time. It's not going to be a long one, but we will learn how to tell time. Telling time. Underneath that title, we're going to write this sentence. The clock is just a number line, and then pause, and I'll give you the next directions. So again, your title, telling time, and then underneath that you're writing the clock is just a number line. That's it. Raise your hand if you know what a clock looks like. I hope so. There's one right up in front of Kobe, up at the top. That is a clock. Raise your hand if you know what a number line looks like. Awesome. In this room, I have a very specific way that I would like you to draw number lines. Number lines are straight, right? Yes. People have a hard time drawing straight lines. It's hard for humans to draw a perfectly straight line. I cannot draw a perfectly straight line. It goes sideways. I've watched you guys do it. It goes sideways. Just as what it is. So, to make sure that we get a straight line for our number line, we are going to follow specific expectations. First, in your notebook, there's something called margins. There's two of them. There's a pink line on one side and a pink line on the other side. Put your finger on the margins, or fingers. So there's two sets of margins on each page. One of the pink lines might be lighter than the other. When you draw your number line, you're always going to go pink line to pink line. Does that make sense? Margin to margin. There are already straight lines printed in your notebook. Do you see them? Yeah, you don't need to make it up. Just trace one of those straight lines from pink line to pink line. So underneath where you wrote, the clock is just a number line, I want you to trace one of your very straight printed lines, pink line to pink line, straight across. John, what you need? I'm confused because so our clock is just a round number line. It's just going in a circle. At the front of your number line, you're going to make a little tick mark. A tick mark just looks like this. Our clock always starts at 12. Our clock always starts at 12. What comes after 12 on the clock? It's not a trick question. Bryson? 1. I'm writing. That means you're writing. What comes after 1? Carl? 2. We're going to keep going. What number are we going to stop at? Raise your hand. Please don't yell out at me. Ariana? Oh, yeah, basically. On my number line, because I drew a straight one, not a nice round one, I'm going to put 12 again. But imagine that number line on a string, and I've connected my two 12s. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's what's happened. So I just made that clock and I stretched it out. But imagine I put it back together. The 12s would overlap. 12 is both the starting point and the ending point. Does that make sense? So my clock is just a number line that I've made curved. It started out straight, and then I went in a circle because my starting point and my end point were the same number. It's like a track. Start and finish are at the same spot. It's like that. Clocks give us a lot of information. They can count a couple of different things. I'm writing, that means you are writing clocks count are they counting? I can tell you that my clock is not counting people. My clock is not counting pencils. My clock is not counting puppies. Tegan? Nope, not counting numbers. Gio? Nope. Yes, but no. I need more specifics, Gio. Heidi? Seconds. You see what I'm talking about, Gio? More specific. Clocks count seconds. My clock has a second hand. It is very skinny going around the clock. Sometimes the part of the clock that counts seconds is red. So take a look at my clock. You might have to move your head if you're where the glare is. But you'll see a little arm moving pretty quickly. That is the part of the clock that is counting seconds. What else does my clock count? What else does my clock count, Madison?
Minutes.
Counts minutes. I put a comma because I'm making a list. Minutes. My clock counts one more thing. Carl? Hours. Sometimes you will see a clock that does not count seconds. That will happen. The clock that I have in here counts seconds. The clock on my watch counts seconds. But some clocks only do minutes and hours, and that's okay. Now you're probably wondering, why does the clock go to 12? 12 is not a very friendly number to count with. I'm way better at counting by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40. I'm not so good with 12s. Why did we make a clock start and stop at 12? What you think, Macklin?
Because during the day, there's 12 hours. 24. So, like,
You got it, Macklin. Get your thoughts right. What you thinking?
during the day. So there's 12 hours in the day, so it has to go around the whole clock. And when it gets to 12 hours, the day is done.
When you say day, Macklin, when you say the word day, what are you talking about? Because day can mean a couple of different things.
I mean, like right now.
Okay, when you say day, do you mean the whole date of September 1st, or do you mean just when it's light outside?
Just
Gotcha. Zach, you want to add on to that?
12 is when it's, because there's 12 in the nighttime and 12 in the morning.
So I'm hearing similar to what Macklin was saying, like we have 12 hours of daylight and then 12 hours of night time. Is that what you're thinking? Okay. Colby, you want to add on to that?
So 12 plus 12 equals 24, and there's 24 hours in a day. So there's like kind of two settings in a day. So, and it's, every time the clock makes it all the way around, it's a new part of the day.
I love that. So we're going to write a couple of those things down. Colby is correct. There are 24 hours in one day. When I use that word day, I'm talking about the date. So in September 1st, today, all of the time that it's September 1st, I'm using the word day. Actually, let's change that. Let's make it more specific because I think that can be a little confusing. I'm going to say date.
Date?
Yep. In one date. September 1st. There's 24 hours in September 1st. There's 24 hours in September 2nd. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
I get that one.
That way, when I think of day, I'm not confusing daytime. Colby is correct. I take those 24 hours and I split them into 2 sections. Now, it is not so nice as daylight hours and nighttime hours. It changes a little bit. Right now, we're pretty close to even, but I know you know in winter the sun sets at like 5. It's darker for a long time. Our clock doesn't change, but it's not quite measuring daytime hours. But we have 2 settings, if you will. You've heard of these. We have AM. What's the other one? Q? PM. I love that I see you writing because if I am writing, you are writing. Each of those settings gets 1 round around the clock. So the first round, first travel that our clock does around those numbers is our AM time. AM equals first trip around the clock. That's why a lot of us say, hey, come to my birthday party. It starts at 8 a.m. Because if I just say it starts at 8, and then John shows up at 8 o'clock at night, well, that is 8, but it's the wrong 8. So a lot of times we say 8 a.m. or 8 in the morning. I might also say, hey, we've got an event we've got to be to. It starts at 7 p.m. maybe. Then I know it starts in the afternoon or the evening. When I get to p.m., that's my second trip around. These. In our number system, we group numbers in groups of 10. You know this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you can make a 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And then you can make another group of 10. When you have 10 tens, you can make a group of 100. Our number system likes to make groups of 10. On a clock, we don't make groups of 10, but we make groups of 60. That sounds crazy. But think about it. 60 seconds is the time it takes for that little bitty second hand to go around 1 time. We're going to write this down. 60 seconds. We're writing on the same page as your clock, probably at the top. 60 seconds is worth how much? How much is 60 seconds worth?
60 days.
Not worth 60 days. Tegan?
1 minute.
It is worth 1 minute.
Wait, do we have to write all this stuff out?
Colby, I've told you what to write. Now I've underlined it.
I'm so bad.
60 seconds is worth 1 minute. So 1 minute of time is the time it takes for that second hand to go all the way around once. Carla, do you have a thought, question?
No.
Okay. Oh, you're ready for the next one. So you can go ahead and write 60 minutes if you're ready for the next one. Our next chunk of time that we count is minutes. 60 minutes is worth, John, I know you know what 60 minutes is worth. I know. How much is that worth? 60 minutes?
60 minutes or 1 hour.
1 hour. So we can count time in groups of 60s. Now we're going to learn where we can count time. So now we're looking at our clock. Your clock does not have a second hand on it. That's okay. That is okay. But your clock does have a hand, we call them hands, that counts minutes. Do you see where one of those bars is longer than the other?
Yes.
Yeah, that bar is called a hand, and the longer one is called the minute hand. So I'm going to take an arrow, and I'm going to point it at the long arrow like this. So I'm drawing an arrow, and I'm pointing it at the minute hand, just like this. You are doing that. You have that same clock glued in your notebook. Evelyn? Great. Okay, sorry, fix it.
In the wrong way.
John, fix your problem. You can do it.
Don't break the paper.
Alright, we're gonna label this
Yeah, I see a purple.
minute hand. The minute hand counts what? Counts what, Kaden? Minute hand counts minutes. It takes the minute hand 60 minutes to get all the way around in a circle.
Why am I so bad?
It takes 60 minutes to go around one time. We're going to point at the shorter hand. That shorter hand is called our hour hand. Hour is tricky. There is that silent H. We don't hear that H make a sound in hour. We don't hear that H in hour. Hour hand. That's counting the hours. Bryson, I'm writing. That means you were writing.
I already did.
Fantastic. Stop playing with pencils, though. How long does it take for an hour hand to go all the way around? This is tricky. Think about it. This is very tricky. Because our hour hand, if I look at my clock, hasn't moved a whole lot. Still right here. How long does it take to go all the way around? Evelyn, what do you think? 6 hours? What do you think, Tegan? 1 hour? What do you think, Heidi?
24 hours.
24 hours? Jalen, what do you think? 12 hours? Kaden, what do you think? 12 hours? 12 hours? 12 minutes? 12 seconds? 12 hours? Carl?
4 hours.
4 hours? Gia, what do you think?
12 hours.
12 hours? What do you think, Bryce? Kobe? I don't know why it's 12. Ariana? 1 hour? Alright, so let's look at our clock. When the hour hand, I'm going to use a different color just to make it a little easier to see. You still use your pencil. On my clock, if my hour hand is at the 12, and then it goes, and then it goes, jeez, holy moly. And it, why can I not write? What is happening? There we go. And we jump from the 12 to the 1. Go ahead and make that loop. When that short hand has moved that much, 1 hour has passed. On the hour hand, that's 1 hour. HR is the shortcut for hour if you want to write that. So that means if it went from 1 to 2, how long has passed now? Another hour, so a total of 2 hours. What if it goes from 2 to 3? How many hours has passed now? 3 total, right? So how many hours passes when that hour hand goes all the way around 1 time? Count it. You can keep counting. Count it. Mac, you figure it out? Still thinking? Jalen, figure it out? Still thinking? If you're not sure, count your hops. Keep hopping your clock around. See how many hours it would be to go all the way around. So if I don't see your hand up, I should see you making hops on your clock. Because you either know it or you're solving it. Those are your two options. Rylan, you know it? Then I need to see you making hops on your clock. I'm not just staring out the window. Jalen, what'd you get?
I got
12 what? Puppies?
12
Hours. Brilliant. Your high five. Nice. 12 hours. It took that hour hand so much longer to get around back to the beginning. It takes, I'm writing your writing, 12 hours to go around 1 time. We're looking at our clock. So the time in minutes in between 12 and 1, maybe if that's right. All right. Well, the time in minutes between 11 and 10, 10 and 9, 9 and 8, 8 and 7, 6 and 5. Yep, all the way around is 5 minutes. I don't know why it won't let me write. They're 5 minutes. We're going to write a 5 in each of those. So each of those numbers represents 5 minutes. I don't know why my marker's not deciding to write on that clock, but it's 5. So you're going to just put a little 5 in between each of those numbers. Take a look at our real clock. Zach notice, okay, if it's at 11, it's got 5 minutes until it's pointing at the 12. Let's count how many minutes it's at right now. You ready? So from 12 to 1 is going to be 5. All right, ready? Here we go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. Well, when it gets to 60, that turns into a new hour. Back one? Oh, you knew what it was going to be. Alright, so if I look back at my other clock, count with me to figure out our minutes. Oh, our minute hand is pointing at the 1. What does that mean? How many minutes is that if it's pointing at the 1? Oops, did I move it? Holy moly. Gia? Not 1 minute, remember, we just counted it. 5 minutes. So I'm going to write 0, 5. So this means I've gone 10 hours and 5 minutes. That's how I write my time down. And then I would say 10:05, but it's 10 hours and 5 minutes.